Because sometimes I don't want to use a sewing pattern. Sometimes I just want to wing it and use clothes I already have. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Veronica and I like to sew my own clothes and talk about fashion, sewing on a budget, and talk about all the clothes I feel inspired to make. I have put a list together of the best sewing tutorials I've come across so far this year. They are sewing tutorials for warmer weather and they're very cool girl inspired. And the best part is that none of them require a pattern for purchase or even a free pattern to download, cut, and tape together. They're all either a DIY self-draft, an upcycle, or using clothes you already have as a pattern. So technically these would be considered free and also a huge time saver because there's no pattern to put together. Because you know what? Sometimes I don't want to use a pattern. Sometimes I just want to wing it and use clothes I already have. All of these tutorials are available on either TikTok or Instagram, and I will link all of them in the description so the link takes you directly to the tutorial so you don't have to dig around for it under that creator's profile. So let's get into my recommendations. You may have seen these beautiful tops from the Spanish brand Susmies Collection. I love the bright colors that they make these in. So I have two sewing tutorials for you based on your style preference. So if you want to sew something very similar to the Susmies Collection top, then you can follow the tutorial by Jaz Mccorquodale on TikTok. I first saw her tutorial back in February, and when you go on her page, you will quickly see that she makes the cutest stuff. I saw that she made a dress version of this top that's inspired by the brand Rhubarb, and it's so gorgeous. I need to make it. For the pattern, she used a cami top she already had that she liked the fit up for the main piece. And there's a few things that you may need to tailor to your body specifically. So one of them is the width of the straps, because that really depends on your bust size and cup size and really how much coverage you may or may not want. And then also how long you want your straps to be. Because since your straps start under your bust and go over your shoulders and tie at the back, you'll need to figure out how much excess fabric you want hanging off past that knot that you tie. And I definitely recommend making a mock-up before you cut into your really nice fabric with this project, because there's a little bit of math that you have to figure out. And I would recommend picking a fabric for your mock-up that's a similar consistency of the fabric that you want to use. So for example, if your nice fabric is a little bit on the thicker side, then you'll want to use a similar fabric for your mock-up, because if you choose something that's a lot lighter or even sheer, the fits are not going to be the same. There's going to be inconsistencies with the fit. And also this top is made using a stretchy fabric, preferably a four-way stretch. A four-way stretch just means that it stretches from two different ways. I just think this top is the most perfect, beautiful top, and it's also pretty versatile. If you make this version, you can tie the straps a bunch of different ways and technically get like 4 to 5 tops in one, which is really nice. So option 2, if you like this style of top but want a more practical version, more for kind of everyday, then you can follow the tutorial by Viola Fiona on either TikTok or Instagram. And if you sew, you may already follow her. She's a pretty popular sewing content creator, at least here in the US where I'm based. I know the low V-neck may not be everyone's cup of tea, but you can definitely modify that and make it a little bit shorter on the front or the back. This is a DIY. It's made from scratch. You just need to take your measurements, and she walks you through the whole process in her video. In her video, she mentions that the top is inspired by this top, so I just want to reference that. And this is another top that requires a four-way stretch fabric. There is two-way stretch out there, but I just think a four-way stretch will be more comfortable. Think of it like your leggings that you wear to work out in. That's a four-way stretch, so it's a lot more comfortable to move around in. And I think that if you make the V-necks on the front and the back a little bit higher, it could definitely be work appropriate and something that you could wear into the office. And it would look really chic if you wore it with some trousers or a midi skirt. And it's just something different than the typical corporate outfit. And I think that if you made it in classic colors like black, gray, or taupe, that you would get a lot of wear out of it. And if you make it in those classic colors, it'll probably become a closet staple, which is always a plus. So I wanted to quickly share another version of this top that kind of combines the two sewing tutorials together. So I saw this version that has a shorter sleeves and the gathering at the bust, like the Susmies Collection top. So this is another variation that you can do using either tutorial, which is really nice. I feel like these tutorials give you a good foundation to help you make the top that you want. The next tutorial is for a fold over skirt, and you may have already seen some tutorials going around for this. It's pretty popular right now, but one of my mutuals posted a tutorial for this back in 2025, and I've had it saved ever since. Her handle name is sewingcalstudio on TikTok, and to make this, you're going to use a skirt you already have as a pattern. What's nice about the tutorial is that she didn't get her skirt perfect the first time. It ended up being too long and too wide at the bottom, so she shows the modifications that she made to get the skirt to fit just right. And as a visual learner, I always like when you can see the changes that they're making instead of them just telling you what they did over a voiceover. I learn a lot by watching, and maybe you're the same way. I'm definitely planning on making as many skirts as I can in this in multiple colors and making matching tops to go with them. It's going to be so cute. I do also want to mention that she has a lot of other great sewing tutorials on her page as well. So if you happen to be looking for some fold over pants or fold over shorts, she has those as well. And also she has a really good halter top sewing tutorial that's very similar to the Susmies Collection one that I mentioned earlier in this video. It's the halter top that has the gathering at the bust. And if you've been sewing for a while and you feel really comfortable. One thing you can do to elevate your projects if you're working with a stretch fabric is use a twin needle to finish your edges. So when I was looking at her tutorial and comparing the Susmies Collection top, I wanted to see the similarities and any differences, and I did notice one difference. So I noticed that the Susmies Collection top kind of had a stitch under the bust. If you look really closely, it looks like it's a top stitch. In the other sewing tutorial, you don't see that. So I was doing my research and I'm 90% positive that this is sewn with the twin needle. And I feel like with the twin needle, it secures the two pieces in place, so your bust pieces and your bodice pieces, and it prevents the top from riding around and moving around. That's just a suggestion. I'm definitely going to experiment and try it, but I am going to upgrade my sewing when working with the stretch fabric to a twin needle and also use it to finish the hem. It just looks a lot cleaner. A lot of sewing tutorials recommend zigzag stitch, which is fine, and I've used it plenty of times and it works great. It does the job. But if you're ready to elevate your projects and make them look a little bit more professional, I would recommend a twin needle. Next top is inspired by the brand Casper the Label, those high neck tops with all the buttons. Earlier this year, I made multiple sewing pattern recommendation videos and I got a lot of requests to try and find a pattern very similar to this, and I tried so hard and I couldn't find anything, and then this tutorial popped up on my feed on Instagram. So the creator's name is Spektive on Instagram, and I think she's also a tattoo artist, which is really cool. When I first saw the tutorial and I watched it on my feed, my jaw dropped. It was an immediate follow. She's so talented. So to make this top, she teaches you how to upcycle a button down that you already have. This is the top that she made. It's so gorgeous. And because it's an upcycle, you're working with the foundation of the top that you have. So you don't want to pick a button down that's too oversized or too fitted on you. You kind of want to pick something that is just right, or maybe one size up. I love the sleeves on this top. I think the ruffle is so cute, and because it's short sleeve, it makes it perfect to also wear in warmer weather. And I love the side ties. It's just such a fun little cute girly detail. This could also be another top to wear into the office. I just love to find patterns and sewing tutorials that I could wear to work because I have plenty of going out tops and I feel like it's hard to find things that are work appropriate. And if you happen to be looking for something a little bit more modest, something that covers your arms, you can keep the sleeves of your original button down or just make the long sleeves a little bit shorter at the bottom and maybe add a ruffle. That could be something really cute that you can do. The tutorial has two parts, so there's one video for part one, a separate video for part two, which is really nice because it's really in depth and very detailed. This top is on my list of makes. I just can't decide which button down I want to use. I have like 3 or 4 options that I'm considering. I just want to be sure because I hate when you spend a lot of time working on something and then it doesn't look the way that you hoped. Like something's wrong, the fit's wrong, the fabric's acting weird, or you just end up not liking it. And I know that's a part of the sewing journey, but it's still really annoying when it happens. And the last sewing tutorial is for this beautiful drawstring skirt by anniessewingstudio. I saw this tutorial back in January or February, I can't remember, but based on her comments, it seemed like a very highly requested sewing tutorial. And I love the skirt that she made. I think the yellow is so beautiful. And this is a skirt that you can customize a bunch of different ways. So you can make it maxi or midi. You can play around with different fabrics like cotton or linen. You can make the drawstring a different color. You could do contrasting stitching to make it really pop. And honestly, I feel like if a brand like Aritzia or Reformation sold this skirt, it would probably retail for $150 to $200. So DIYing this yourself can save you a lot of money. And there's 2 formats for the tutorial. So she has a video with a voiceover or a photo carousel. So I think that's really nice that there are 2 options. So you can kind of decide which one works best for you. I thought that was pretty cool. So those are my cool girl summer sewing tutorial recommendations. Let me know if you already had some of these saved. I know some of them are really popular, and I know that there's a lot of sewing tutorials going around for a lot of the things that I mentioned in this video, but since I'm based in the US, I just wanted to share that the reason that I mentioned these creators and not others is because I saw their tutorial first. Their tutorial came across my feed first. So depending on what part of the world you're watching this from, you may have already had some of these saved, but they're made by different creators. So I just wanted to share why I'm mentioning theirs and not others, and it's because I saw theirs first. Also, just really quickly, I'm really trying to diversify my algorithm and follow other sewing content creators based in other countries. So please let me know in the comments who are your favorites and who you recommend that I follow. I love discovering new people and feeling inspired. But thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!